Hey guys, all right. It's Brett from Iron Body Martial Arts here. How's it going? Um, if you don't know, I'm on a channel here on YouTube that focuses mainly on old style traditional martial arts and conditioning training, endurance and toughness training, and a bit of law enforcement stuff, different sides of martial arts and realistic self-defense and this and that. But usually I just focus on conditioning training, toughness training for martial arts. All right, so I haven't chatted to you guys in a while. It's good to see you. Thanks a lot for all the people who support the Patreon as well, and the Iron Body Martial Arts course and all that. And everyone's been really enjoying the Iron Body Martial Arts course, so that's great. Which is just in conditioning training methods. Excellent. I've been a bit scarce over the last couple of weeks because my kids have been sick and I've changed job and just trying to work all that in with everything. But yeah, this video is to try and get back on track, to try and get things going again. Also, finally there's this new feature on YouTube where you can invite guests and chat, and it's kind of integrated into the YouTube. So hopefully, I'm hoping to on these chats do that. So we might give that a test out and see if we can invite anyone to come on and actually have a chat properly, which is great. I'll put the link up in the description. I'll put the link here on the chat. Once the chat opens up, I suppose it needs a comment to open up, but once the chat opens up, I've got the link. I'll put the link down there on the actual chat. If I could only open up the chat bubble myself, but usually someone puts a comment and then it comes up. And I can't find it myself on the pad. Shows you how crappy I am. But yeah, once that opens up, I'll put the link down there. And then hopefully people can actually join to come into like a real chat. Also, what I'll be doing is I haven't done it now because obviously no one knows about it. But with the Patreon channel, I'll be before I do these casts, I'll chuck the link on there, and then people from Patreon can find the link and they can just come straight on if they want to join in for the chat and stuff like that, which will be awesome. So now people who watch this video will know that that's something that's sort of coming up in the future, or it's here now, which is great. That we've got that like functionality finally, which is awesome. Yeah, all right. So yeah, great to see everyone. I hope everyone's been good out there. I hope the training's been good. Yeah, so we'll just take this general podcast, if you will, where it goes, and start with a few topics, like I always do. Sometimes I come on here and I do like a live training where we do some practice stuff. Sometimes we go martial arts topics and this and that and the next thing. This time, just wanted to introduce these ideas and just let the guys on the channel know that they're coming and they're out there. So please, like, put your comments, and if you're interested, you know, yeah, let me know. But certainly for this time round, like again, once this chat bubble comes up, it's annoying that I can't open it up myself. But my plan was, obviously, it gives you a link that you can post to like people. So I posted one to someone, but they're not around. And obviously, you can organize it in advance. But my hope was that I could post it up on the actual chat bar of my thing. And then, yeah. And then, like, people are actually visibly now on the chat can come on. I can't seem to open up the little bubble. Maybe I'd be able to do it on a computer, I don't know. But that's all right. I've left the bubble open there, so in case the chat opens and someone comes on, it'll I can try and put it in there. Okay, so one of the Patreons, I've had a new Patreon join, Michael Apple. So hello, Michael. Thank you for joining recently. And my idea with the Patreon was, and the tiers and stuff like that, it's kind of an evolving thing, but my idea was obviously to give the people as much interaction as they can. So Michael's joined, and you know, he's obviously looking at the stuff that's on there. And he says that he's in law enforcement himself, federal law enforcement. I won't say what country. He's interested. He's brown belt in BJJ, which is a really a respectful rank. BJJ is still one of the martial arts that maintains a high level of credibility when with regards to rank. So, if someone's a purple belt in BJJ or they're a brown belt or a black belt, you know that they've really put the hard yards in. So yeah, Michael Apple, who's joined the Patreon, that's his thing. He says he's also interested in kind of like the iron body martial arts world. So he's looking into those skills, which is awesome. And I guess that's why he came along to my channel. So hopefully in the future, we can even have him on here chatting about how, because I really enjoy talking to people about like the beginning of their training, when they just started the iron palm training, because sometimes I forget, I don't paint myself as some grand master, but sometimes I forget the small things that you experience at the very beginning. Because for me, the beginning of iron palm and iron body training and stuff like that was more than like it's like 15, 20 years ago now. It's more than 15 years ago. So yeah, it's good to talk to people of different ages who're starting up. And like I said, the link to the live chat, hopefully, when I get a comment on here, I will be able to post on here. And then if anyone wants to join and have a chat and ask questions like physically, they can. And again, like I said, for the Patreon guys, if you're on the Patreon before I do these casts, now that the feature's finally here, I'll post the link on Patreon, and then the guys who are on the Patreon can follow the link and bang, they'll be able to come on here and join the live chats, have their say, and I'll even wanting to post it here for just for everyone. But yeah, like I said, I just can't put a comment on my own chat bar at the moment, which is a bit annoying. Um, yeah, it's a bit of a pain that, but it might come up. Uh, when a comment comes up, I'll see if I can reply to it, and then I'll post the link to for someone to be able to join this chat. Yeah, because I think that's an awesome feature on the YouTube now. That you can join into the chat. Of course, if anyone joined into the chat and they were just spamming it or being silly, then we just cancel them out. But hey, that's kind of life, real life. You get stuff like that. You just got to deal with it. So yeah. Anyway, Michael Apple, um, you know, thank you for joining the Patreon. Hopefully, we'll engage more. Um, I think Michael said he's doing I think 50 strikes on an iron ball bearing bag with like various strikes. So obviously he knows his some martial arts to be doing these strikes in the first place. So he's doing some strikes already, which is awesome. I'll set up my pillow here. So yeah, Mike's doing these strikes already, which is great. Um, One thing I'd say to him is that I don't know how long he's been doing striking the iron ball bearings for, because he's only just joined the Patreon, but he's obviously already very into the martial arts. Is that probably would be more beneficial for him to go back to striking um, something else, so sand or rice or beans or something like this, and also doing those things as well anyway, which he maybe probably does if he's already built up to striking the iron. And also, the elements theory is used by a lot of schools of kung fu training, whereby, like, you don't just strike a bag of iron ball bearings. You'll strike sand, you'll strike wood, and you'll strike rock. Cotton palm as well. Where you have something um, rubbery or covered in some softness that's hard in the middle. So there's the number of different benefits you get from striking, sort of different things like that. So yeah, so if Mike's here and when I talk to him in the future, we can talk about more of those things to help his training more. Um, but yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to inviting guests on. Now that it's available on YouTube. Like before, it was available. Like I had my brother and other people on who I'd talk to, but it was difficult for me to set up because I've not got the greatest technology on this site. And now I've got even less technology. But now that it's all integrated into YouTube, before when you wanted to do it, you had to use outside streaming things. And I used to balk it and trick it by like having one phone on Messenger and like one phone on YouTube and literally looking one screen at the other. That's how kind of cheap my setup was. But yeah, now it's all on YouTube. So like I said, it's great as well for these live chats or these live trainings. I'll put the link down here for this one on the comments tab. Well, when I can find it, like I said, I haven't got a comment yet, so I can't find the tab on my pad. But once it pops up, uh, um, hopefully I'll be able to post the link. Then even people watching this now can follow the link onto this if they want to come on live and chat, ask questions, or tell about their martial arts training or whatever. Um, that'd be great. Or for now and in the future, because that's what this video is for. It's just like yeah, a bit of a chat about it, a bit of an update. That's why I called it sort of podcast style thing. There's the new podcast playlist on the YouTube now, which is pretty good, where I've found a whole backlog of like podcast style videos where I'm maybe talking to someone else or talking about a topic, some training as well, lots of training videos. I've just chucked them on there. So it's just like a wealth of different stuff, which is pretty good. But yeah, so I wanted to say that. Welcome to Michael Apple, who's come to the Patreon. Um, the links to the chats are going to be on the Patreon, but also on here, like I said. So people hopefully on the Patreon can see it and just come straight if they want to join in, which is what I wanted to do with the Patreon guys from the get-go, but I just haven't had the facility to do it, but now it's there. But also with you guys, because now the facility's here. So I've turned the live chat on this. And yeah, I'm going to post the link, like I said, down to the comments tab once I can find the damn thing, because it hasn't popped up yet. Yeah, and hopefully we can get that going and people know about that for the future. As for, like I was saying about Michael Apple, who's just joined the Patreon, he said he's been doing 50 strikes on iron ball bearing bag to try and build his own training, and he's interested in his own training, which is awesome. And then what else he said is like the whole Gong thing, he's not too sure about. Like he doesn't understand it and this and that. The next thing, well, I don't know, does anyone actually understand Gong is the question. But as we're talking about the subject, I think of Gong as like calisthenics, yeah, as like a warm up. But it's more than that. But it's a tendon exercise. The tendon, the blood, the bone, the body, it's all linked. The fascia, um, you know, and that's what Qigong is to me. Yeah, it's like, well, for instance, you guys might know this from the bodybuilding world, but old style calisthenics have proved, and now you can go and see online, with information that you can get out there. But a muscle is 20% stronger if you do a mock action. Yeah, so they've proven now, and you can read about it, that if you're going to do a bicep curl, say, you know, if you do some mock bicep curls with no weight, in essence like a warm up or a mock movement, then when you physically do the actual movement, you're 20% stronger. You can recruit 20% more power, which is awesome. Yeah. So what would we call that? Like, so we call it a warm up. You call it whatever. I'm using in a very simple way. I'm giving you an example of like a bicep curl. So if you do if you do 3 or 4 mock bicep curls and you do a real one, you can recruit 20% more power. Yeah. And that in a nutshell is kind of a good example of what Qigong is in its very simplistic form. Yeah, so obviously everything you can do in life has like basic, medium, and advanced levels. And I don't mean advanced as in the people who do it are advanced. I just mean there's basic levels of understanding. There's basic levels of how things happen. There's intermediate levels, and then there's like more complicated, advanced levels of like how things happen. Like we all know what water is. You know, we maybe don't know how water flows and how it reacts with the environment, and that starts getting into science and fluid dynamics and everything like that. But that doesn't mean you don't know that you can dissolve some salt in water, you can dissolve some sugar in water, you can drink water, you can cook with water. What I'm saying is maybe not the best analogy, but there's like water. There's how water works and da da da. And then there's the advanced chemistry of water. But you don't need to understand the advanced chemistry of water to drink a cup of water every day, or to drink more water than you usually would and reap the benefits of water. So hopefully you guys following my analogy now, albeit maybe it wasn't the best one, but that's kind of like Qigong, yeah? So, or Qigong or yogic exercises, it's like you can do them, and you don't need to even know the complexities of them. You can do them, and then you can understand maybe the second level of them, the basic dynamics, which is kind of the things I like to play around with, and you can really reap the benefits without trying to be a sage and know all the secrets. And lots of people pretend to be sages in the secrets. So yeah, that to me, for Mike, when he watches this video, for Michael Apple, is one of the Patreon guys. That for me is the understanding of Qigong, is that just look at it at the basic level. Okay, start off with doing the Qigong exercises and just being like, this is a warm up. It's calisthenics. It's joint mobility. It's flexibility, dynamic flexibility, it's body alignment, it's all those things, and that's all you need to worry about. That's all I've pretty much ever worried about for the last 15 something years, yeah, or more than that. When I've been training it, and when I've been thinking about like, what is it, what are the secrets? Because we're all in the martial arts world. We all hear about Qigong and these masters and the energies, but the problem is, I've met people, I've met kung fu practitioners, and I've met martial artists who spend so long. And this is in jujitsu, this is in kung fu, there's traditional jujitsu. There's people who labor on like the mysticism of martial arts for so long, but they miss the true picture of the martial arts. I think is just in the doing of the martial arts. Yeah, you can sit there and labor on all these things. Just do them, because if you're not doing them, you're not going to learn it. Okay? There's nothing. You're contemplating the mechanics of driving a car and all the nuances of driving, and never getting in the wheel. So there's an old Chinese saying, and I think it's probably also in Japan, is that martial arts is 10% theory, 90% practice. And if you live by that rule, you won't go far wrong, I reckon. It's stood the test of time. That's a rule. So if you go anywhere, and you could laugh and say that about this channel, it's like, man, this guy's bloody, how much percent just sitting there talking is he doing? He's not doing 10% martial arts now. So yeah, you could laugh and say that, and I guess on this occasion you'd be right. But I guess if you watch the entirety of my channel, it's just mostly me doing shit for hours and hours and hours and hours. And that's also how qigong works. If you sit there for hours and hours thinking about the mysticism of qigong, you will never know qigong. You will never know, because qigong is a physical exercise. Just do it. Just do it. Know a few of the basic reasons, do it. So basic reason number one for Qigong, body alignment. Yeah. If your body alignment and flexibility and stretching is wrong in your Qigong, there's no Qigong. And same with Tai Chi, there's no Tai Chi. Legs are wrong, no Tai Chi. Same with Qigong, I would say. I would say. Yeah. If you're, in other words, if you're standing there doing just general whiffy waffy movements that I see so many people doing, and you're concentrating on energies like, oh, I'm cultivating my chi, and you're not doing the movements correctly, you don't have body alignment, then you will never get anything. You will get rudimentary benefit of movement. Okay. So you'll get some benefit, but you will get a rudimentary benefit of movement. Um, if you're doing your qigong and you're actually doing the proper postures, you're doing them at the correct depths, your body alignment is right, then you'll get it right. Oh, someone said interactive art said I tried the link, but it didn't work. Uh, mate, I didn't know there was a link on there, man. I'm trying to post it, but I can't. I can't actually, unless there is a link. I'm trying to post the link, but I can't. Like I was hoping when someone commented on the channel, like usually you can reply to their comments. Oh yeah. Oh okay. Oh, you tried it and it didn't work. Oh, I wonder why. Try it again, maybe. Maybe it's because I started the. Maybe it's because I started the bloody chat already. Yeah, I have to end it and start again. But yeah, so we'll try it again. So yeah, if you're, in short, does lead to message. Yeah, messenger invite does lead to app. Oh, doesn't. Oh, bollocks. How else can I send it? Yeah, so if you're, where was I with that? If you're not doing the, I lost my track. But anyway, if you're not doing the motions correctly, um, and you're just thinking about energies and this and that and the next thing, I believe you just won't go. You won't get anything. Yeah, you won't achieve anything other than the rudimentary achievement of movement, which is fine. Because I guess even if you are doing the movements correctly, all you're getting is the benefit of rudimentary movement. You know, but yeah, hold on. All right. So I did try and invite someone to this chat with the link. I see. I was hoping I could. I was hoping I could. See, I used to be able to reply to people's comments if they wrote them on here. I could reply to them, but now it doesn't even seem to let me reply to them. Hmm, that's weird, man. It's YouTube's change. Like I used to have a little chat bar. Mind you, this is the pad. It's annoying. Yeah, I don't know. Oh well, it's another reason I did this chat today. Some message is it just to try and get this thing to work as well. So I sent one invite out, and the person's clicked on it. I sent it through Facebook Messenger. The person's clicked on it, and it hasn't. It just doesn't bring them to the app, to this video. I think it brings them to YouTube chat, to YouTube. Sorry, but that might be because I've started the video. But on my screen here, it says waiting for guest. So, oh, hold on a minute. But I might be able to do this. I might be able to do this because there was one here that said add guest. Ooh, what? Send invite link to guest. You should just be able to post a link to your. Yeah, Max is there. I'm still live. You should just be able to post a link to your. I sent you a new link. Yeah, Max, I'm still live, mate. I was just talking about, yeah, one of the Patreon guys came, signed up Patreon, and he's a federal law enforcement guy outside of America. He's just also talking about Michael Apple. This is the name he put on Patreon. He's just talking about he's enjoying the iron body stuff, and he's been doing striking on the like 50 ball bearings. But he said like he wants to learn about the qigong kind of side of things. Um, and I'm just doing my usual spiel of saying that because he said I don't understand it, but I was like, does anyone understand it? But I'm just using Max's internet must be playing up. Got you on phone. Oh yeah, it might be my internet, mate. My internet's not that great here because I'm in like the back room, and my internet box is in the front room. But the kids are asleep in the front, which like creates problems for me. Yeah, I've not got the best setup at the moment, guys, which is why my channel's been a bit scarce and stuff. Like there's a lot of blockers in place. Let's see if that link works. I just also wanted to tell people on here on the channel that obviously YouTube's got this invite link thing going on now. Um, oh, yeah, so I'm planning to do that and invite people on, like the usual guys who are on the chat. You can actually come on and talk, or other people from Patreon. I'll post the link on the Patreon, and then guys from the Patreon can come and chat and whatever. But obviously, it needs to work. You know, at the moment, it's not working. I posted the link and it's not working. But I don't know. There might have to be, you might have to sign into YouTube and then do it. I don't know. Who knows? So yeah, just a bit of a test video, bit of an update. See how everyone's doing. Doesn't look like it's working. And I used to be able to. I used to be able to. I used to be able to put replies on this thing, but I can't even put replies now on the pad. Yeah, it's a pain in the ass. Unless it's like off screen somewhere. I don't know. Should be able to write like a. Sometimes I used to start a thing chat, and I used to be able to put something on the chat. All I want to do is post this link on the chat, but anyway, we looked to see if it worked, and it didn't work. Yeah. So in summary, I was talking about the qigong there. Obviously, again, I'm no master of qigong, but as someone who's trained it for now, what is it? It's more than 15 years now, 19 years or whatever. I just think of it as like a yogic kind of activity. You know, correct flexibility, body postures, that helps you to iron out any imbalances in your body, similar to what yoga does. Movement, tendon washing. So what I mean by that is like, your muscles and tendons obviously are attached to your bones. It's like how does qigong, how does that internally make me better? How does it make my bones stronger? Well, your muscles and your tendons are attached to your bones by anchor points, aren't they? So like if you've got your hand, say, in this kind of position, it's stretched out to your side, and then just as if you're pushing a wall apart, as if you're holding columns apart with your hands flat. Your tendons from your fingers to down in your hand to everywhere are strained. It doesn't mean you're pushing, but then when you push out physically, If you want to do hard style Qigong, if you push out physically, if you imagine like almost dynamic tension style, that you're pushing two columns apart away from you, you're putting tension on your tendons, and therefore they're transferring that. Sorry, you're putting tension on your muscles. They're transferring that through your tendons into your bones, and that's why you can feel the stretch, because that's your tendons and your muscles at their full capacity, like a rubber band stretched full. Yeah. Like a rubber band over a stick. Yeah. So the rubber band's over the stick, there's tension in the rubber band, um, and the tension is going into the bone, into the wood. Yeah. And that's basically the qigong. Yeah, the bone marrow washing of aspect of it is that you're creating tension in your bones, and like Mike says here, fascia, fascial stretching, and don't forget the fascia as well, of course, facial fascia. So the fascia is like a ligament, or what would we say? Like it's not a tendon, but fascia is like a just like a sack, or I don't know, you wouldn't call it a sack. It's just got film of an interactive film, that's all over your whole body. It's just fascia. Look it up on Google, and maybe it'll give you a better idea of what it is. But it's just the connections above, the connector above everything, just like a fine microfilm of tendon or muscle. I don't even know what it is. It's just fascia. But yeah, that's so you've got the muscles, bones, tendons, and the fascia. Yeah. And those are all those things are stretching. Say if you're like doing this position out to the side, where your hands are pushed like this and you're like pressing a column. So that's putting force into your bones, and you're not doing anything. So then when you breathe in and out, the force is there, the elastic potential, you can feel it in your hands. You can feel it when your hands are stretched out. You breathe in, you breathe out, you can feel that tension just with your breath. So that the changes in your chest is causing just changes like in your hands. You can feel it in your arm, and you're not even moving yet. And then because that's just the elastic tension that's just living in your body, and that's strengthening you. And then obviously then you can add more breath and movement and washing. So it doesn't even need to be complicated. You can just, you can just you can just press out. I'll stand like this. You can just press out, you know, like hold your breath. You can just press out, and you can feel the rubbing in your body. Yeah. So that's like that's just basic lowest level qigong, but that's not me imagining, and it's not energies. Well, it is, I guess, because your body's making, your body is a unit of energy, but it's a physical thing I'm doing. But that exercise in itself, and then as well is unlike bodybuilding or weightlifting, you've got the full 3D, well, which you do in every movement, but you've got the full 3D 360-degree motion of your body. Yeah. And you're not trying to isolate a movement in one particular way and not move this way and not move that way. So it's a really nice way of, it's like a nice connected exercise you can do, and that's why like the bar dwajin, the pillars, um, that's why that's such a core exercise for qigong. That's one you should, the brocade, sorry, the pillars or the brocade, the 8 movements of the brocade is just so great. Yeah, but yeah, anyway, that's just basic basic understanding level. And that's all you need. It's like, oh yeah, I can feel this tension when I'm like this and my hands out. I can feel it, and I can feel the way my body's sort of flat and aligned, and I can work on this tension. Yeah, so I can breathe in and out of this tension. I can stay static. I can breathe in and out of this tension. You know, I can move with the tension, and now I can feel it in my hands, rubbing, rubbing, rubbing. I can change my breath through this tension. I can hold my breath, and wash, breathe out, and it just gets tighter, and then I can move through the other the other movements once I know them. Yeah, so you're pressing down, you know. But the cool thing is you can do them all separate. You can just stand there and press down, breathe, press down, press down, press down. It's a full extension, yeah. So it's not so, and it would be different. That's what I'm trying to say. It's different. It's slightly different to dynamic tension, but hard style Qigong you can do it that way. But it's not. It's not me. It's not me going like. It can be. And really like it's not. Maybe you can't see on the camera, but it's not me tensing my muscles and trying to you know, iron wire style, you know, push everything with the muscles, which would also in itself achieve a similar goal. So it's fine. Yeah. But what we're going for here is a little bit more relaxed, um, fuller range of motion, and we're trying to let that tension be on the tendon, yeah, and not on the muscle. Yeah. But it is on the muscle, but we're not trying to generate it from the muscle. We're trying to generate it from the elastic potential of full range of motion. That makes sense. Yeah. And also with things being a bit more relaxed, your body is a little bit more natural. So your energy channels and stuff like that they all go on about, if they exist and if you believe in them, they're able to, activate a bit better. You're not blocking yourself off and tensing up because don't forget a lot of the qigong is like the health giving aspects of it. So if you sort of being tense and rigid all the time, not so great for your blood pressure, just not so you just can't maintain that level of training. But then that's another good thing with your qigong because you could do your routine really like muscle based, if you wanted to do one day and you'd be sweating buckets because then it's just like proper dynamic tension. But also you can do it full range of motion, more relaxed, more breath, breathing in and out of the small motions, yeah, opening up the hands, reaching to the maximum reach, thinking about your range of motion. Yeah, and there's the see now when I'm doing this, I can feel like a resistance and a tingling in my fingers. It feels like I'm holding a physical something here. Yeah. And that's how it's described in the books and in the manuals, the Chinese manuals. It's like a tingling, it's like a pushing, it's like an energy, like you're physically holding a ball. Yeah. Um, but what that and the heat, but what that feeling is it's just it's have you ever played that thing in school where you go like this? Have you ever done that? You go like this with your fingers, you just rub them together like this, and you do it for you do it for like 5 minutes or a couple of minutes, and then it feels like there's a wall in between your fingers. Like it feels like there's a physical barrier, something really solid. I don't know if you've ever done it. If you have, try it. Just put your fingers together like this and just go up and down like this. And just do it for ages. Not for too long, but push pretty hard. And then you'll feel that as the seconds go on, it feels like there's a proper and your fingers press against each other, it feels like there's like a flat, it feels like there's like an iron bar in between your fingers, yeah, and it's kind of like that feeling, yeah. So all this feeling is it's just the tendons in your hand having sort of a force exerted against them from you moving in the same way over and over again. Yeah, it's not really an energy, but how else are you going to explain it back in the day 1,000 years ago? You want to explain to people there's like a tension in your hand. You want to maybe tell it to people who can't read as well and are not that educated as well. Um, So how do you explain it? So this is where the mysticism comes from. That doesn't need to really exist anymore, or maybe it's the poeticism or whatever you want to call it. It's that when it was written down, if they wanted to tell the people the secret, they can only write down a feeling, really, because they didn't understand the physiology, or they had a limited understanding of the physiology, or their understanding of the physiology was based on their system of medicine and their system of understanding, which we don't fully, but we now fully understand the physiology of the body, you know, com- compared to, we don't, but we do compared to like 1,000 years ago in China. Yeah, we know that there's not three heaters. You know, there's not. Like, I mean, they did so well. And Chinese medicine is so awesome. And they did so well to almost get exactly like, it's like they had nearly the picture of how a person worked, but they didn't quite fully understand. And they did so well to get nearly there. But yeah, now we fully know like what all your organs do and how they work and what they do and how to fix them nearly fully. We don't quite. But do you get what I mean? So that's another thing with martial arts, and I think with Qigong. And so it's kind of like a long answer, but a lot of it's based on old understandings, especially with the kung fu. You know, so again, people get trapped in the mysticism. I know martial artists who spent from the 70s and before or whatever, and they've spent like their lifetimes delving into the understandings of the mysticism and this and that of the Qigong, and they've gotten nowhere more further than where I am, or where you are, or, because there is no mysticism. Maybe at the heart, maybe at a level that we won't realistically attain, or maybe if you had the right master. But first of all, you might as well get the meat and bones of it out of the way. Do you know what I'm saying? Like you guys might know, on here there's that guy, that Grandmaster Wolf. You see him on here, Taoist, and he does some crazy stuff, like tricks. And the problem is a lot of his stuff kind of looks like tricks and illusions. But he's got some interesting things where he like knocks a gold ball into a thing, and it's got some really interesting stuff. And he's got some videos of him striking stuff, and he seems like legit. But then I worry about the tricky things that I see him do. Like putting coins into wood, and there's a few things that are just a bit weird and tricky. But what I'm saying is, I'm not discrediting the guy. I'm saying, and he also talks about like other deeper levels of like our understanding and mysticism and astro travel. But but um but what I'm saying is, if you try and learn your martial arts, like, so if you guys know who I'm talking about, the Grandmaster Wolf, obviously all respect to the guy if he's legitimate, and I'm not saying he isn't, but what I'm saying is, like, if you try and learn your understanding of martial arts as an entry level person at the level that he's showing it, and then add the mysticism, you just get lost. Yeah, because then you've got to worry about, oh well, is it even real? Like, is some of this in the realms of no touch jargon? Is some of it just Chinese kung fu parlor tricks, of which there are a lot? Because don't forget, back in the day, schools and kung fu schools and stuff like that, they earn their money. They'd earn funds and money by putting on shows, doing tricks, and entertaining people. That's why there's the dancers, and that's a legitimate thing. So, if you've got one trick better than the next school, it makes you seem better. It makes people want to come there and learn. And it can generate money for you. So that's why there are parlor tricks in kung fu, but people balancing on the spike sticks, and it's just that stuff's just a lot of that stuff's just parlor tricks. Yeah, as much as we love to look at it, And you need training to be able to do it. It's just like distribution of force. Um, it's just nothing that you can't explain with physics. When people lying on the bed of nails, we all know that's an age-old one. People chopping at themselves with knives and saying that the chi's making them be resistant. Look, man, I can go and get the sharpest knife in my kitchen now, and I can bash it against my throat like this loads of times and my arm, and all I'll have afterwards is little red marks, and then I go to you, oh look, it's the qigong. No, it's not the qigong. It's just the way a knife works, a blade works. If you hit in a certain way and you don't move the blade back or forward at all, you will not get cut. Yeah. Depending on the weight of the blade. Like I know people do it with meat cleavers and stuff, but even then, you know, yeah, I could get a meat cleaver right now and I could bash it against my stomach 5 times, pretty hard, and I wouldn't get cut. I'd have like maybe a little red mark. There might be a little bit of dotting of blood. Um, but yeah, the Max says here the bending of the spear on the throat is yeah, it's a very impressive feat. And I've seen more realistic and less realistic versions of that feat. But the usual parlor trick wushu version is the blunt wushu spear. The spear's on the throat like this, and it's pointing in. So the way it works is, look, see, I've got this bone here. So I'm not saying all of the time, but you see, I've got my bone here. So obviously the spear's resting here, and the point is in my throat. But the moment you like arch forward, if you keep the pressure on, you transfer the weight from the tip of the spear to the flat of the spear, if you get what I mean. So if this is my throat, if this is the bone and this is my throat, so the tip's in my throat. So then I start to bend the spear like this, boom, and it goes onto the bone here. And then once the flat of the head of the spear is on the bone, I just walk forward like you see them do. Watch videos of them do it. Yeah, so this will be into the throat, being resisted, being resisted. Then boom, it will transfer to the bone, and then boom, you walk forward, bend, 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 and that's also why then afterwards, once it's bent, they jump back quickly because you don't want the tensile strain in that spear shaft actually going into your throat because it will stab you in the neck. Um, yeah. Look, that's not to say I've seen some. I've seen some more genuine, uh, resistance of the throat and the body. But look. Generally speaking, we're all flesh and blood. We're bound by the laws of physics. And as much as we'd like to believe it, you know, you can't resist the usual way of things. You can't resist a stab to the neck. You can't resist a spear to the stomach. And I'm a lover of the tales and the stories in the 72 Secret Arts of the Shaolin that talk about people being able to resist all sorts of forces against them. But from my knowledge, there isn't really one that will train you to resist actual blows from knives and swords, really. I think I've seen a few mentions of you will be able to resist blows from knives and swords, come to think of it, but I can't remember what the skill is. And there is a story of a monk, but this makes perfect sense. So there's a story of a monk who trained Iron Head, who's famous in the 16th century or something like that, and someone hit him with a sword on the head, and the sword glanced off. It didn't go into his skull. Now that I can fully believe, because when you train, now he would have taken a lot of damage. That sword would have taken the skin off of his head, probably some of his scalp and bone. But because when you train Iron Head, your skull physically becomes thicker. And if you've ever like hit a concave structure, um, you know, uh, you'll glance off of it, especially if it's covered in a little meat sack of skin. So that I can fully believe. I myself have trained like Iron Head, and I know that it physically makes your skull thicker, through physical pressure on your head. There's no qi gun. There's no magical energy that you can invoke that'll stop your brain getting nailed and will stop your head getting destroyed. The magical energy is in the hours and hours of training that somehow, well, they thicken your bone, they thicken your skin, they thicken the fascia, they maybe create like some kind of defense, but the defense is there already. You know what I'm saying? It's like, look, guys, like a lot of times as well, people don't realize like how much physical training these people have done. I say we because I've also done my fair share. But it's like with the iron palm stuff, the iron palm. Like, I've got a video of me striking a piece of rebar like um 3 or 4 or 5 times and bending the rebar. You can find it on my channel. Now, I could do a dance before I did that rebar, and I did. I did some tendon washing before I do it and smack it, bend it, and then I can be like, oh, that was my chi energy training that like bent the bar. But look, how do I say this? That may be the case, but what bent the bar more was 4 years of hitting shit. Yeah. So that toughened the bone, that toughened the skin and the muscle, that built the willpower and endurance, 4, 5 years or more of hitting crap. Yeah. So then maybe that allowed there to be some mystical energy that allowed me to exert that amount of force, but I can't quantify that. What I can quantify is 5 years of iron palm training plus another 7 or 8 years of other kinds of conditioning training or whatever you want to call it. Because I was already well into my martial arts when I started that stuff. And when I filmed it, I've already been training iron palm stuff. Because my channel now is, I think, 13 or 14 years old. And when I started my channel, you guys can go back to my first videos. I was already talking about all these things and doing them. My channel it didn't start with me training like the basics. Well, it did, but it started with me training, showing, look, this is iron palm, this is what I train. Here's some breaks, break, break, break. So obviously I'd already been training for years because I couldn't just be a beginner. You see, there's quite a few people doing like beginner videos where they're like, oh, I trained iron palm for a week. Then they try and break something and maybe they break something like thin and small, but they don't break rocks and bits of brick and random jagged crap. That is all the shit that I had. But yeah. Anyway, the, through my driveling and my what do you call it, digressing, we actually came to a very good sort of summary and analysis of also how qigong works. If you compare it then to the iron palm stuff, we've come to a great sort of point of like how to do away as well with the mysticism of martial art. It's like, or how to remove the cloak, because yeah, like I've also met people who like, wow, when they see a Shaolin monk or they see a kung fu demonstration, someone breaks something or they do the energy channeling and resist something. When I see those things, I don't see those movements and then breaking. I just see like, oh shit, that's a lot of training to get to that level. And I think that's the misconception about iron body skills and all those sorts of things, is that there isn't a shortcut, there isn't a magical energy. There's only training. Oh, hold on. Baby. Babies wanting bottles. So let's see what we have here. What do we got? Max is on here. Doodaloo. Max says it's a viewpoint like seeing the forest but not the trees. Yep. Max said bending a spear on the throat is an impressive feat. Yeah, 100%. What is it? Zani V says, yeah, old school marketing. Yeah, yeah. But even the tricky stuff takes technique and practice. 100%. Probably Salat. They do the knife resistant Islamic mage stuff down there. Yeah, and there's also Indonesian martial arts have the medallions. What are not the medallions. They wear the medallions to like ward off being killed by the enemy and stuff like that. And we all know that you know it's not going to happen. It's luck. Maybe it is luck, God's freaking prayers. Maybe it does something. Again, in the top end, in the absolute top end of the esoteric world, maybe it does something. If we want to go real crazy with it, we're meant to be. There's theories about people being able to, about how prayer works and stuff like this, because people can alter the universe around them by like their thoughts. And then it's just really wacky out there stuff, but that you can conjure the sort of reality that you want to be in. You can conjure who's around you. You can really by your thoughts and prayers, or your thoughts and wishes and actions, you can really cultivate exactly what you want. And there's whole theories about how, like the Bible, the Old Testament or whatever, it was like a mainframe of how people can access that like knowledge and godly power, which isn't so much godly power, all it is, but it's kind of like, it was like a universal understanding, that doesn't necessarily belong to the Christians or the Muslims or the Hindus, or it's just like a universal understanding that various wise people have inherited or tapped into or got from the gods or whatever. Now, look, that's really out there kind of esoteric stuff, but it's interesting to think about. There's no harm in thinking about it. There's no harm in questioning and considering it. But again, we're talking the absolute top end. So I'm not going to stake my life on the absolute top end of things unless I've got nothing else left. Like they say, a wing and a prayer. You know, a hope and a prayer, a ring and a prayer, whatever. What are you going to do if you're going out for a trek, or if you're going out to the desert, or you're going out for a drive, or here in Australia, I'm going out camping. Am I going to go out camping with my family and go? Because don't forget the Bible and the Hebrew Bible and the New Bible, whatever Bible, talks a lot about being wise and trying to cultivate wisdom, being a wise man, wise, wisdom. It's like, am I gonna pack a couple of liters of water in case of an emergency, or am I just gonna pray there isn't an emergency? Yeah. Or am I going to pack no water and just pray that I get water? Which is what is wise and what is foolish? Why would I ask God for something which is already there, which I can sort out for myself easily? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, I digress. But again, in the martial arts kind of context, esoteric up there, who knows? We'll never know the answer. Let's focus on what's real, what we can work with, maybe. Um, Max says Ironhead. I think I'll pass on that. Now doing Zaniev, he says now doing the closed door stuff. Haha, yeah, yeah, yeah. There we go. You're right, actually. Yeah. Well, there we go. That's why there is closed door stuff, because once you start talking about all these kind of things, it's not for everyone, like not everyone's interested, fine. Not everyone has a mind where they want to consider those things. And they're also entitled to think that they're a load of crap, which is also fine. But back on the Iron Head side of things, Iron Head's actually really good. But there's a misconception about Iron Head, is that it involves striking of your head, which there's doesn't need to be any striking of your head in very effective Iron Head training. All you need to do is just stand on your head, basically. That's the best advice I can give you for iron head. You do headstands, and that is the kind of lowest level of iron head, but that's pretty much the only level that most of us need to do. You know, so, and this again, this is about the energy and the misconception. It's like, okay, look, how Iron Head works is, and I know if you read all the Chinese books and manuals, it's like it's like, oh, you really need to have good chi and culture your chi to do Iron Head and do chi. And mate, you can do chi every day, all day, and bash your head against things, and you will get concussion. You will get a brain like a fibrous sponge. You know, all those problems will happen to you. You know, almost guaranteed, because they're just physical things that happen when you bash your head. Yeah. Um, or you can just train it like properly, just, like, again, no mysticism. You just think about it and you're like, okay, what's the basic level of iron head training? No, I'm not going to smack my head because it's not going to make me good. You do headstands, and that's all. You do headstands supported with your hands, and then eventually you just do headstands just on your head. And okay, how does that work? Well, what that does is, first off, like that dinosaur with the thick head, it strengthens your neck, your spine, and the surrounding frame, which gets used to bearing the weight of your body, and it strengthens the muscles and everything like that. And also, because you're standing, all the pressure and of your body weight on your skull, it 100% thickens and changes your skull. Because I used to have a normal, like, flat, normal head, and then after doing lots and lots of years of headstand training, I've got now like a ridge head. It used to be worse. It used to be sharper. It's kind of gone down a bit because I don't do it as much, and the bones like dissolved away or been absorbed again. But my head's still like way thicker than like most people's normal heads probably are here. And yeah, every now and then when I get hit with something or I hit my head, I still get that dull hurt pain. That's another thing that disappeared. When you bang your head just on something normal, like edge of something. When I was doing headstand training, I'd bang my head on the edge of something, and like I wouldn't get that dull pain where it's like, oh, and it sinks in through your head. It would just be like dunk, and it would just glance off. Um, you know. So now, like, if I get a spoon and I like wooden spoon and I whack it on my head like this, I won't feel much, but I still feel more than I used to feel. And then afterwards I feel a bit like, oh, I feel a bit like, oh, like I don't feel great because I've hit my head with a spoon, and like, so again, the stories of people like getting struck with iron bars and hitting, like an iron bar is hitting your head and you're not taking damage. It's just, you're going to take damage. Trust me. Um, yeah. Max says headstands I'm okay with. Headbutting a tree sounds like, yeah, headbutting a tree. No, but a recipe for CTE. Yeah, you're right. But also, if you think about it, so the body's a really strong thing. So after, because I did also do some actual striking training on my head, but after a couple of months and years of headstands, so the neck, the bones of the neck has strengthened, the muscles of the neck have strengthened, and the actual skull has gotten thicker, and your alignment's correct. So, like, like when you do a head, when you're striking your head, there's a very, like, you see there's a specific alignment, yeah? So you set like a woodpecker or like one of those, those dinosaurs with a big fat head, you know. If you look at animals that designed to take whacks, like buffaloes and rams and stuff, they've all got a combination of things, a very thick bit of that skull, for one. And then they've usually got some apparatus in the neck that allows them to absorb the shock. Obviously, we don't have that, but if you build up the muscles of your neck, you're strengthening everything to take the shock. And if you're not delivering, again, if you're not delivering too much of a kinetic force, which is going to vibrate the brain no matter what you do. So yeah, so I yeah, so but there we go. It's a stupid thing to do, but after months and months of training those things so that my head or your head gets thicker, your Scott, you can like I've got a video on my channel of me doing a headstand for 5 minutes, with my hands by my side. You can find it on my channel. It's got some music to it. It's probably about 12 15 years old now. But if you go back on my channel, right back into when I lived in North Wales, you'll see a video of me against the glass windows, a white and I'm not saying this is anything amazing, but there's a white conservatory. I'm on the outside and I do a headstand with like a little, just with my hat on the concrete floor. I've got about that much little bit of padding, like one of those thin insulate hats. I'll put that like this, put it on the floor, and then I do a headstand, and I do that for 5 minutes. So if you can imagine, if you can stand on your head on a pretty hard surface with your hands by your side, bearing all the weight of your body on your head and neck, and the pressure for 5 minutes, and that's not too hard for you to do. Then you can imagine the strength that you built up in that area. Back then, when my mates in martial arts used to try and like choke hold me or whatever, do rear naked chokes or whatever, I could just like pretty much fling them off. And if they actually got me in a rear naked choke, I could like resist it really well with my neck, because my neck was strong, and I could breathe through a lot more. Now, if you did it to me, you just choke me out because I don't train it that much anymore. But or if I went back and did it to myself, I would just choke myself out. But yeah, my neck was really hard, and again, it's hard against strikes as well because the muscles developed, and the spine is stronger, the head is stronger, so you'll be better for any kind of concussions and knockouts because literally your skull's gotten thicker, and thicker bones means more protection. Yeah. So it's a real thing. It's a complicated training process, but it's also simple. It's like all the iron body martial arts stuff. It just requires the doing, and someone who's done it and not and like seen the other end of it. I don't know. The proof is in the pudding, but yeah, I've at least got proof of me doing a headstand for 5 minutes, which is a fair long time to do one. And I used to also do them obviously on just the hard surface. But then again, so then you take this to the Shaolin, where you know you've got high-ranking members of the Shaolin who train the same method, but they're doing a headstand and I used to do it too, but not to that extent. But once you start doing headstands on just the solid ground with not even like a little bit of padding, you can imagine the strength that you get in that area, the bone density. Um, what actually happens is you get when you start doing that, because I used to do headstands on bricks. I used to stack bricks up and then headstand on the raw brick. But that's the thing that really deformed the top of my head, because my head was forming like a nice sort of bowl shape, which I guess you would say is like the basic levels of Iron Head. But then I started doing Iron Head training on the hard surfaces because I thought, I was like, I want to graduate onto the hard surfaces, and then that develops like a like a the bony ridge part. So then you see some Shaolins with really round heads from the bell training, and then you'll see some with like a ridge, and the ridge is from just on a hard surface, like because there's only a little surface area, you know. Um, yeah. So anyway, that if I could go back in time, I would have just left that bit off and kept using just the hats and stuff, so that the pressure was dispersed a bit more. And then I wouldn't have got like the hard bony ridge bit. But then the bony ridge makes a stronger area, for copper. There's like, I don't know if you've heard of copper cap or something like that training where you've got just this one bony area. It's just extra strong. Who knows why you'd need that, but there we go. You got it. But going back to real fighting, years later, I've used, you know, um, because it takes away the inhibition and your head becomes a weapon. Even so far as a year or two ago, I've used headbutt strikes in like a real combat situation when someone was trying to fight me, when I was trying to arrest someone, who then tried to fight me, and yeah, it worked. Because like the whole body weapon idea. Pinned them. They tried to get me and push. I've told the story before, but it was a bit of a BJJ wrestle kind of situation. They were on top. I flipped them round. Obviously, I'm trying to ward off blows with my hands, pin them down. What other tool do I have? Bang, head. You know, and for me, like usually you'd use this part of your head, but yeah, for me, I just use the top of my head because that's the hard part of my head. Obviously this part will be hard too, but this is the part that I train. So it's just boom, that nice two of those, and that was all that was needed, and that sorted that out. So yeah, yeah. I guess look, as weird as like kung fu soccer kind of thing, years later, it came in handy. But I'm sure it came in handy a couple of times. Actually, the one time I'm talking crap now, but I'm telling the truth, but I don't know why I'm telling it. The one time iron head training actually saved my life, and I believe this 100% saved my life. Was that I was being stupid with my mates, my martial arts mates. We went camping, and I used to do backflips. Um, so backflips. And one of my mates dared me. He said, "Oh, can you eat this sausage? Can you eat this hot dog and do a backflip at the same time?" And I was like, "Yeah, I can do that." We were all camping, so I've done a backflip, tried to eat the hot dog, which is the dumbest thing ever. Imagine death by hot dog. And obviously, what's happened is me trying to eat and do the backflip has just cancelled my brain from work. It was too just like, no. So all I ended up doing was I just backflipped. My legs didn't come around, and I literally jumped in the air and I backflipped back onto the top of my head straight into the ground, just like this, up and down, bang. And I remember I landed and I heard like a crunch and a crack, and my head went like, and it twisted as well, like twisted. And then like I was all like my mate tried to talk to me and I was all like I thought I was talking normal English to him, but he was like, "Man, yeah, I asked you how you were," and you were like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." But in my mind, I was like, "Yeah, I'm okay, man. I'm all right." And yeah, I hurt my neck really bad. I was in England, but I didn't live in England at the time. I lived in Belgium, so I was away for like 2 weeks. And yeah, for 4 or 5 days, I like couldn't move my neck. My neck was really sore and it got buggered up a bit. Um, and it's funny because and you can ask my mate about this, my old instructor, if I can ever get him on, is that the ground where I hit, actually the turf, the grass had like there was like a dent and a tear in the grass, like a circle and a tear of the dirt. So he was like, shit, because I'd obviously you don't flip and land straight. I flipped and hit and then like twisted as well. So it was actually like he was like, shit, you can actually see this like dent and twist. And it was also England as well, Wales. So the ground was like it wasn't rock hard, but it was summertime. But the ground was like not muddy, but it wasn't like concrete earth. So it actually dented in and twisted it a bit. But it's still hard enough that you could play soccer on it and run on it and drive a car on it, and it's not going to like sink or anything. But yeah, my mate was like my ex and my old instructor, and my mates were like, "Oh shit!" Like he actually like freaking dented the ground and twisted the ground in. But it wasn't about that. But the main fact is like I really hurt my neck, but it was fine. I didn't go to physio. I just had a really sore neck for a couple of days, and then a few weeks afterwards, that then went away. Um, I got concussed, I think, but I never went to the hospital. And I just stayed camping with my mates, and in a few minutes I recovered and I carried on doing my normal shit. Um, but so sorry, stupid story, but I reckon had I not done the iron head training 100%, my neck wouldn't have been strong, so my neck would have broke, and I probably would have suffered more injuries to my head. But that wouldn't have mattered, because it was like earth. But the fact is, my neck would have just probably snapped. because I hit the ground and I twisted as well, and I really hurt my neck. Um, but I didn't like have a brace or have to have an operation or have physio. Like I said, I didn't have to do any of that stuff. Um, so yeah, if that's a reason to do iron head training, I don't know. If you want to survive stupidity, maybe some story, but double thumbs up. I'm glad I didn't die or be paralyzed. But yeah, on a more realistic side of things, headlocks and stuff like that. At the time when I was training the iron head training, really resistant to headlocks, really resistant to rear naked chokes. Someone can like do an old school sort of schoolyard headlock on you, and you could literally just shake them off. You could just go like this, and you just shake them off. Also, really good for pulling your head out of stuff. Like someone's got you in a headlock, and you're kind of trying to pull your head out, but yeah, when you're doing the iron head training, because it kind of toughens up. Because what you got to understand is when you're doing a headstand on the top of your head, it doesn't just toughen the top of your head because your whole skull is a connected unit. Yeah. So when I was doing the and this is cool. I mean, I suppose you don't hear these stories from anyone, but when I was doing the headstand training, I used to hear cracking in the temple here. I don't know what you guys I don't know if any of you experienced the sound of your own skull creaking and cracking, but it used to mainly happen around the ears here. So what that is all the points where your skull has the little fracture lines in, the lines. I've forgotten what they're called, the fissures or whatever. And you could hear those, like when you did the iron hands, not when you did it for a few seconds. Like when you were there, and you were doing a few minutes, you'd feel the pressure, you'd adjust your body, and you'd hear like in your own skull. Um, yeah, from the iron head training. Yeah, just from the pressure, And of course, it was safe. Like my skull's never going to crack like an egg, like because you're so strong. But it was interesting. So if you can think about that, so you obviously the pressure's coming. It's here. It's diverting here, and it's sitting all around here. It's just everywhere over your whole head. And another thing I noticed as well is the back of my head, which is also a dangerous area of weakness when you get hit there. Very dangerous. The back of my head, and still to this day, became very bumpy. Like now, like if I feel the back of my head, like it used to just be like flat, yeah. But now the back is like it has like bumps on it. Like I don't know how to explain them. Like yeah, I don't know. Just the back of my head got more, just a little bit more like bumpy. But then again, as you can imagine, like if you look at the way the skull is, the pressure on the top all the way around the anything on the top here, like an arch, because your head's basically an arch, isn't it? That's why it's actually a strong structure for bearing force, but well, which is designed to do because it's designed your skull is designed to save your brain. But any force that's applied on the top of your head is going to sit all the way around here, isn't it? Yeah. And that's kind of so when you do the headstand training, everyone thinks like, oh, it's like just this, or when you do iron head training, it's like, oh, the top of my head's gotten strong. But no, it's the whole head and the whole skull is getting strong. And this is just at the lower levels. Like I don't consider that I ever went past low to intermediate level, you know. I used to break some marble on my head and stuff as demonstrations and this and that. The iron bar stuff you can do as well, but again, the iron bar stuff is like again, it's not a trick, but it's once your head gets to a certain point of hardness, you'll be able to break those bars because they're cast iron. It's a you could it's strong, but it's not like stainless steel that'll just bend. Then you see the guys who hit the stainless steel and it just bends, 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 and they're showing how hard that area of their head is. You know, and it's all hard. It's hard stuff, man. I've seen some. Then you get the real crazy ones who they turn those iron bars on the side and they break two or three or four of them on the side, And but that shows it's all attainable. That's like it's just there's just more years of doing the same stuff, and your head just gets stronger and stronger and stronger. And again, it's not energy. It's not I don't want to crush anyone's dreams here, but it's not magical energy. Maybe again, maybe there's like a bit of magical energy sitting up there, but it's literally hard work. Kung fu, that's all it is, bros. Just the hard hours of training. Um, yeah. Anyway, oh, MMA bone conditioning says the notorious sausage incident. Yep. Oh, Max says ruffle. It's probably was that like a laugh or something, Max? I don't know this expression. Max says I remember braking for a pedestrian on my push bike who stepped into the road without looking. I landed on my head and hurt my neck. Yeah. Well, yep. So there we go, man. Iron head training, you know, would have helped you a bit then. I don't know, you probably wouldn't have needed it, but there we go. Um, yeah, so sorry, guys. Well, not sorry. Again, we ended up. I wish I could summarize what we were going to talk to at the beginning because then people would know. But yeah, we ended up talking. We ended up going fairly deep, which is again is thanks for the rolling on the floor laughing. Yeah, I deserve that. Um, we ended up going fairly deep into how to train iron head training properly, I believe. And then all you guys would need to do if you wanted to do it is just do that. That's all you need to do. Um, and chat, you can always chat to me a bit more before or, oh, I didn't even get onto the training theme for the year, even though we're like halfway through the year. That's another reason why I made this video. I was going to talk about the training theme. Now, if I talk about the training theme, no one's going to have listened this far into the video of me talking crap, but no one's going to know the training theme. But for the people who are here now, before I go, oh, tell you what, first off, look at my chair. You want to see what my chair is? This is my chair for the last hour. Sesame Street buff. That's the that's the joy. Oh, that's the joy of having children. Get to sit on a Sesame Street bus and talk to you guys about martial arts. Um, yeah. So, um, as you guys know or don't know, I used to like doing training themes for the year. So, the training theme for this year, because my year has been so chaotic, and we're already well into the year. But the training theme for this year has been, of course, the what did I used to call it? Oh, I forget what I used to call it, but the idea of constant training. So the training theme for this year is um, like the idea or the spirit of constant training throughout the day. So for those of us who are busy, for those of us who like work jobs or like whatever, is trying to pick something and just a skill, whether it's your twin locks, whether it's your twin lock skill or any one of the skills that you do, your gripper, your grip skills, picking a couple of those things. There we go. That's what I used to call it, the mindset of constant training. So that's something we all should have anyway, but this is something that's a theme for the year is the mindset of constant training. So trying to, you're in the kitchen, you make you're making some pancakes. I don't know. Before you go out into the living room, 10 push ups, you know, 10 sit ups, some planks, or, obviously you don't have to do all of those, just one thing, you know, something that's going to improve you. Bang, mindset of constant training. Oh, all right, bang, I'm going out into the kitchen, knuckle press ups, whatever you want to improve, you know, and that links in with the second theme or the theme. So the mindset of constant training is one of the themes for the year. So think about it. You know, waking up, wake up early, wake up a bit extra early. Um, you know, or you get up 10 press ups, 15 press ups. Then you get dressed, you put this stuff on, 10 press ups afterwards. You know, something. Do you get what I mean? Something like that. Like work it into what if you can't do it and you don't have time, work it in so that by the end of the day, maybe you've at least done 100 press ups, or more, hundreds. It's up to you. Okay. So that's the mindset of constant training. So if you want an example of that, what I've been doing is, and this is the second, the second or the exercises. So um, this theme for the year, I've been focusing on like pushing power, or like ejecting force, So I've been doing what I've been doing it with is the press ups. So I've been, and again, I've been very busy, but I've been trying to use the mindset of constant training for my press up stuff. Yeah. So I've been doing exactly what I said to you. I'm at home, I'm cooking dinner, and I've been like doing, my 15 press ups, stir the pot, blah, 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 10, 15 more, blah, blah, blah. A few hours later, I'm doing something, I'm walking, I'm doing something with the baby. Then I'm doing like, press up, walk. I don't know if you guys know, but you do like one press up and then you walk like this on the floor, press up, middle, press up, walk. So basically, it's like a walking press up. Yeah. So you do a normal press up, and then you walk your hand forward, and you do a press up like this, and you go back to the middle, and you do a press up, and then you walk this hand, and you do a press up, and you will go back to the middle, press up, and you get what I mean. So you're not, yeah. Hopefully you get that exercise. It's probably called something, but you don't have to do the walking thing. But that's what I'm saying. Start simple. So if you're not doing anything at the moment, you're like, oh yeah, I could do with building up my chest, and press ups are great for that's why they're taming the tiger is a classic kung fu exercise. Start with your press ups. Like okay, when I'm at work, I'm fucking having a coffee or whatever. Bang, gonna do 10 press. Do you know what's even better is that now it's if you look online, it's like it's that press up charity thing, push up challenge or whatever it is. That's this month or for the next month or two. So what a great excuse to start now because you've got a cover, so you can be like if you're at work and you're doing your press up, of course join the press up challenge. Maybe we can do that. One of my next streams, we'll join the press up challenge. I'll put it on the channel. We'll be able to donate some money to a good cause. But there we go. Mindset of constant training. So now, like we used to do it in the cops, we all used to join the press up challenge, and then we just have an excuse to do like push ups all day. So there we go. Join the press up challenge. You can work on one of our themes for the year, which is building up our kind of chest push power, which is, the biceps and the triceps, great for striking, great for punching, great for grappling. So if you're just starting out, start simple. Just do your press ups. So what I do is I obviously as of last year I was a cop, but now I drive like a big, one of those big, the mine trucks that you see on the films are like the wheels like as high as like a room. It's like 3 stories high or something. So I drive one of those. Well, it's not the biggest one. I drive what's it called? It's a cat 777G or F water cart. So I drive the one it's got a water tank on the back. I don't drive one with the thing. So that's what I do now because guess what? Policemen don't have any qualifications, and you know they've taught me how to drive that. I'm very grateful. So I've learned how to drive that. So I drive that. So what I basically do is I use my rig as a training thing. So I went, otherwise I just sit and get fat. So I drive it all day, and then every 20 minutes or so, I need to stop to fill it up with water. And filling it up with water takes like 7 to 10 minutes. So instead of sitting there on my phone, every time I stop, and of course, a few months ago or a few weeks ago or whatever, months ago, when I started, um, I'd been so busy, so my condition had gone down a little bit. So I didn't start doing like hundreds of everything. But now I'm building on it with that mindset of constant training. So I stop the water cart, I turn on the fill up, and I'm out there on the gang walk, and I'll do my 15 to 20 press ups. I'll do a few holds, some planks, things that fit that theme of the chest, pressure. And then more recently, I've also started adding some pull ups, some chin ups and pull ups, yeah, to that routine because I've got the strength is starting to come back, and I've got my gripper back with me. My last one broke, so I've got my gripper again, and I'm doing my gripper. Whilst obviously not whilst I'm driving, but when I'm stopped, I'll do some gripper, get the grip going again. Good old kung fu grip. So that's what I wanted to say to you guys. So that's the theme for now is sort of training that explosive power of your chest. And I mean, we can do some videos of more ways of doing that, but I've got lots of videos of all of that you can find. We can do some more. If you guys want, just drop me a comment on the videos on the channel and it'll come through. You can drop it on any video and it'll come through. Even if it's an older video, you can be like, oh, this is about that. But yeah, so that's like the theme. So taming the tiger is the theme, which is the press ups. And of course you can do them, just easily like this. Then you can do them on your fingers as well. Then you can take fingers away. Yeah, so it's taming the tiger is a kung fu exercise we should all be doing anyway. But I was neglecting it. So that's it, press ups. And then, of course, don't forget you can make all kinds of variations of your press ups too. Wide ones, diamond ones here, yeah, diamond ones out there, planking. So just that's kind of the theme, one of the themes. So mindset of constant training and um, this this taming the tiger press up training. That's just one of the themes of training. So if you're not, I mean, your martial arts schedule might be really full, but if you want to join in on that and make that one of your things to start doing, even though we're like halfway through the year, do it. Let me hear how you're going. It'll only benefit you no matter what strength level you're at, no matter what level of martial arts you're at, no matter what martial arts you do, even if you don't do martial arts, it'll benefit you. So the mindset of constant training is trying to work that into your daily life, not just a gym, not just at the gym. But of course, if you do have just the gym training and that's the hours that you do, that's fine. But if you do that, then try and add these on top at some other time as well, even if it's more. Just add them in later on in the day, almost as if they're like manual work that you have to do. They don't count as your exercise. Yeah, like lots of people do a manual job, like I used to do before I joined this job. But after I left the cops, I used to do drillers offsiding, and I was like pulling pipes and using these wrenches and spanners to get the rods and pulling the rods out when the drill rig took them, and cracking the rods and taking core out of the tubes. And so I was doing so much like physical work with my hands, twisting, pulling, pressing. Like even if you've got like a really strenuous job like that, try and add these in as well. Like, because if you've got a job that's that strenuous, you might not go to the gym, but then also whilst you're doing all that stuff, try and add these in as well. Make you even better, make you even stronger. Obviously, be careful of repetitive strain, because that when you're doing a job that mechanical, you do have a limit. We've all got a limit, yeah. So yeah, and remember that our kung fu training is also gradual. Yeah, we don't, we're not necessarily setting ourselves to Western schedules of like today I have to do 10, tomorrow I have to do 11. You think about things in like three 30-day intervals. Similar to your martial arts, like month intervals, similar to your iron palm training. Yeah, month sectors. So like for instance, for me, 90 days is the minimum for like the lowest stage of iron palm, to just start feeling an effect. So the same goes for everything else. Don't try and rush it through. If you do just your 10, 15 press ups for 90 days. Obviously, I'm sure you can do better than that, but if you only just add 15 press ups a day for your 30-day blocks, it's better than nothing. Yeah, but even just doing those 15 press ups in 30-day blocks, you will still get stronger, and by the end of it, it'll be intrinsically in your body, and you'll feel it like, yeah, cool. But of course, that's way too small an amount. Anyone will be able to do more than that. But even if that's all you do, it's better than doing nothing. Yeah. So, also we got to realize that, some people are sick, some people have health problems. One of the guys who supported the channel for a long time has like Crohn's, and his energy is like limited. And I've had bad stomach problems before in the past, so which I actually thought, and the doctors thought was Crohn's, but it wasn't. I was lucky. I managed to get a grip of the inflammation and the problems before it escalated. Um, but um, but yeah, so I understand, you know, and that's another thing. We can't all perform to everyone else's standards. So just do what you can, even like I said, even if it's just 15, and that's better than nothing. But it's a better, a lot of the times I say to people, you only got to be a better version, a better version of yourself. Just be better than you were the day before. That's all you need to do, or just the same. Like, well, you can be worse if you want. That's fine. Don't feel bad about it, but the worse is a declining scale. So yeah, just yeah. Anyway, I've said that for years now, but now I've seen it's become like a catchphrase online and stuff. So now I feel cheesy when I say it. I don't like saying it anymore. But yeah. Anyway. So yeah, anyway, guys, that was it. Mindset of constant training. Maybe we'll come. I'll try and do another stream where we do a bit of press up stuff. How about, hey, you guys don't need me to tell you how to do press ups, like, it's a press up. Um, you know, I'm not a press up guru, but yeah, there's plenty of videos out there. Just work it in. But I can show you like the routine that I've been doing. But the main thing is just trying to work it into your day, which is cool. All right. Well, anyway, Max says, uh, uh, MMA bone conditioning says, give me constant training or give me death. Yes. Now, MMA bone conditioning is one that's really good. The channel, or Dan, my brother, he's good with his constant training. But yeah, Max says busy dad training. Yeah, busy dad training. I mean, it used to be a method of training I always used to prescribe to anyway. That because I always over the years I've always talked about the mindset of constant training. Great for kung fu, because you have to be able to like train things throughout the day, and it's really consistent with the 72 secret arts of the Shaolin as well. Because if you look at the manual, a lot of it is like, whilst going about your daily activities, make a poke with your finger at an object, and that's, training diamond finger, and, just funny stuff like that. So I like it. Um, yeah, so Dan says, Max says, headstand while boiling the kettle. Max, that's no joke, brother. Get it done. Boil that kettle, headstand. You might only go for 30 seconds, but the next day you'll go for 30 seconds and you'll still feel like shit. The next day you'll go for 30 seconds. The next day you might go for less. But then day 6, after a break of one day where you go, "Oh, I don't want to do any today, I feel like shit." Day 7, you'll do them and you'll go 40 seconds because the bones reinforced, you've had a chance to heal, and you'll be like, shit. And then, the next start of the next week, you'll go 1 minute, no problem. And you'll be like, yeah, man, awesome. Look, you guys you don't need me to tell you the realness of training is you're fighting your own mind, but also peaks and troughs. you can't always do your best every day, but just doing it is the best that you need. Obviously, if you can really do it to your absolute best every day, and you're pushing yourself, and then you'll be a champion, or you'll break yourself, one of the two. But that's the fine line of being like a champion, But if you're just a normal guy, a normal person, you still got that willpower in you. Just as long as you keep doing it, man. Just that's the game we play with martial arts. You just chip away, chip, chip, chip. It's a lifetime endeavor. Max says 6 count burpees. It's a YouTube channel. Oh man, busy dad training. Oh, sorry. Yeah, yeah. Well, there we go. There we go. There's a whole training on that. I might go and have a look at that channel or give me some tips. 6 pound burpees, great. I've been doing those. I've been doing a couple of. I like burpees because I hated them, but I forced myself to like them when I was trying to train up to do the TRG stuff, the counter-terrorism group I was trying to join in WA. I never managed to join it because I never got through the training. Unfortunately, I always screwed up something. Like the swimming. There was a swimming that I'm not great at swimming. I'm not the worst at swimming, but there was like a swimming component that I always used to screw up one thing on. But it was awesome doing it. My beep test score really high for me. I got it to 12:10. That's at like 34, 35 years old, to get your beep test to that level if it's not been that level. Obviously I'm not an unfit guy, but like endurance running was not my thing at all. So yeah, I got my beep test to 12:10. So I was really proud of that. I know guys who play football and stuff, it's like 13, 14. But that's the thing. My whole life, I was never one of those guys. Even when I was like 20, 19, 20, 25, I was not the guy. I used to get like 11, 10 maybe. Yeah. But as you guys, if you've ever run a beep test, especially the 20-meter one, you'll know the difference between 11:10 and 12:10 is a big difference. That's really when it starts to get hard, you know. And some of you legends out there can probably run to 13 or 14 or even 15, and that's just godly levels of like endurance. But yeah, mind you, when I got the 12:10, I'd also done the same day about 20, 30 minutes before. I'd also done a 5 kilometer pack march with 20 kilos on my back in 34 minutes and the 100-meter swim with fully clothed with boots and shit because it was like an endurance thing. So I'd already done those things, had little rest, and then had to do that. So but I still don't think even if I ran the beat test straight up, I probably wouldn't have got more than 12:10 because it's just about that sudden exertion that you have to do. But anyway, sorry, I digressed again. Um, yeah, I digressed. Hmm. Yeah, so there we go. I was talking about something before, but now I forgot. But anyway, I'll have to probably go to bed now. But yeah, look, thanks guys. Thanks for tuning in. I'll chuck this on the like podcasts playlist of the channel, and excuse me, that's where it'll live, where no one will listen to it. But it keeps me sane doing my little mind body martial arts channel that I've done for the last, I don't know, 13 or 14 years or however long it's been. Yeah, so there we go. Yeah. All right, guys. Sorry, I just lost myself in thought about thinking about something to do with the kids then and what they need and stuff. But yeah, yeah. As soon as my little lad, he's 2 now, as soon as he just gets a little bit older that I can start training him, that's gonna be cool because I'm gonna start training him. I've already started. He doesn't realize it yet, but I've already started training him secretly. Um, he just doesn't recognize his training, thinks it's games. But we do play games as well because you got to have fun in life. But yeah, I knew, and when I start training him, I'm going to put that on as well. It's going to be good. Because what a chance! What an awesome chance to be able to train someone up from the beginning, from the get go. Because now we're talking about bones and iron body martial arts and skills that take time for your body to assimilate. This lad now is going to be 3, going to be 4, and he's going to start. And I know what to do, and I'm going to start him on the training that I know is going to toughen his bones, going to strengthen him, going to strengthen his muscles, going to strengthen his tendons, going to make him strong, going to make him, energetic, and it's going to be good. Um, and it's going to be good to put it out there as well. It's nothing normal. Nothing normal. Like nothing amazing. Like it's just normal training. But yeah, it's going to be good. Yeah. Anyway, okay, guys. Thanks a lot. Have a good one. And yeah, thanks to the guys who support the channel and the people who support the Iron Body Martial Arts Iron Hand course. Links are all in the descriptions. But cool. Thank you very much. Hope you guys enjoy them. Thanks for tuning in and having a little chat. Post comments, post your things, post your things about your training. There's so many comments on the channel now. I do look at them. I do try and reply to a few of them. I've got a bit more time now because I work for a week and then I'm back for a week. But my kids have been sick, so it's been real scarce. But I'm just trying to build up. You know, I've got a 6 month, I've got a 5-month-old and a 2-year-old, and it's just stages of chaos. So it'll level out, and we'll be able to do some more stuff on the channel. But yeah, the main thing is just to keep going and just to take life is just like that. You just got to roll with the punches. So anyway, all right, guys, have a good one. Thanks for tuning in. The few people who did, and I'll catch you around. Dan, you have a good one. Keep up the good training, and I'll chat to you. We'll get this link to work, and we'll have a good chat on here. All right, brother. Catch you. Dan says cheers. Max says bye. I am disciple. All right.